When it comes to the lineage guys, the people who are responsible for this opportunity, definitely want to say thank you real quick here to, the Navarros, the uh, Rangels, the Pachecos, our partners, Ariala, Julio Aquino, Mrs. Bean, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? And so, guys, this is going to be a huge, huge deal for those of you who are ready for a change, right? And when you look at, people who, have these big goals, and most people have big goals because they hear about everybody else's big goals, right? But they don't have everybody else's work ethic. They don't have everybody else's determination. They don't have everybody else's perseverance. They don't have everything that that other person has, right? To go out there and be successful. But the thing about it is they can get it, they can develop it, they can recondition themselves for that. And and that's where you have the people who say, you know what? If he can do it, I can do it. If Dr. Arlene can do it, I can do it. If Kenneth Jenkins can do it, I can do it. Right? Michael Johnson can do it, I can do it. David Leckett can do it, I can do it. And you don't have to do it the same way, right? You don't have to have the same level of skill set. You don't have to have any of that. When you look at Ray Lewis tell you, he'd be the first one to tell you when he was in college, he wasn't the best at anything except for outworking people, as you don't understand how much, you know, um, just being a hard worker and a person who's working on purpose, person who's turning their activity into productivity, how important that actually is. Because when you're out there in the field, you're out there grinding, guys, you're out there getting it. There's a lot that you get a chance to learn. There's a lot that you get a chance to change within you. Because if you want to change your income, you got to change your output. Right? If you want to change your income, you got to go out there and put them coveralls on, right? And so when you get one thing I know about people who are wealthy, they understand that when you put the coveralls on first, and you go out there and do the first, the work for the first million, then you send your money back out there with coveralls on it. You never have to work that hard again. The money works for you. So when you look at this phase in your life, when you look at this part of where we're at in the company, this is all about you and what you are willing to do. Okay. And let's start there because reconditioning, we're going to talk a little bit about reconditioning, but first you got to have the personal accountability. You got to have the self-correction, right? First, you got to have some reflection and say, you know what? I know where I fell short at. I know what I need to work on. I know what I'm missing. Because at the end of the day, if you're anything like me, I don't like it when people have goals that they don't have habits for, and then have the nerve not to want to go out there and create the habits for it, right? Like you want the fire without chopping down the tree, without learning how to get the flint off the rock. You want something to be done for you. You feel like you're entitled to it because you got in first, or you know JC Rangel, or Winston Navarro, or Fabian, or because you got in, because you got started. You feel like, okay, if I just get in and I stay in for a year or two or three, you know what? I'll be making 40, $50,000 a month. No, you just get in and you don't do anything, you're just gonna be 2, 3, 4 years older. Okay, that's all it is. And that's the most important thing about it, guys. You have to, have a goal to be rich, and but you cannot have a goal to be rich and have poor habits. You can't have a goal to be wealthy and have, habits of a person who's lazy, procrastinating, self-sabotaging, right? You have to really take accountability, and that's where it starts at right there. Right? When you look at, the three phases of change, okay? And this is where we'll go first. We'll go with the awareness first. Okay? That awareness, the first thing, when I look at, different people, and this is how I was when I first broke into the industry. I looked at my mentor, who was my mentor for 19 years, and I said, you know what? I can't speak like him, right? I'm taking inventory, right? And I'm saying this dude is smooth. Everything comes out of his mouth. People just hang on every word. It's like everything is so well crafted. Everything is so well articulated. Man, he's so polished. He dressed so well. And I'm taking inventory, right? So I can't be him, right? But the one thing that I could do is I can promote for him, right? I looked at people who were the best presenters, people who were the best trainers, people who were the best speakers or orators, people who are the best recruiters, and for me, I'm like, what am I willing to do? I'm willing to go out there and meet people, shake hands, and get to know people. And I'm willing to go out there and make somebody else the primary, source. I'm making somebody else the deal, right? I'm willing to go out there and talk, or put my senior partner on a mantle and put him in a position where he can go to work for me because I have a gold tooth in my mouth. Okay? I don't know how to dress. Okay? I'm driving a hoopty, right? All these. I'm like, you know what? They're not going to believe that I have my hands on a 6 or 7 figure income potential vehicle, driving in the vehicle that I'm in. Right? And at that point in time, my confidence wasn't, to where it needed to be. Was, so you know what? It's not about the vehicle I pulled up in. It's about the vehicle I'm offering you, and that happened over time, right? But I had to be aware of it, and I had to be honest with myself, and I had to be truthful with myself, and I had to say, you know what? 2, 3 years is gonna pass. It's like 2, 3 years have already passed, and I can either sit here and go back to work for somebody, or I can sit here for the next 2 to 3 years and work for myself and get better at the work that I do and work on becoming a speaker. I had affirmations on becoming the best speaker, the best presenter. Okay, I had affirmations of becoming the top recruiter, top leader. I had affirmations on, all my affirmations surrounding my wife, surrounding my family, surrounding my skill set. I had affirmations, affirmations, affirmations. I said those affirmations every day while I was out in the streets, building me, not building my business. And that's the thing that a lot of you guys really are missing the point on. Okay. In order for you to go from $5,000 a month to $50,000 a month, stop building your business, build you first. Let's go ahead and let's right there. I'm not saying don't do nothing. What I'm saying is make sure you make building you and increasing your value, okay, the priority. Just like we don't use this business, I mean, use people to build this business. We use this business to build people. Like this conversation right now is designed to build you, right? I'm giving you guys, I'm rolling up my sleeves, I'm showing you my scars, I'm being transparent. I'm telling you I'm everything but perfect. I'm telling you how I got started. I'm telling you if it wasn't for this industry, the personal development, the leadership, the calls like this, that I'd probably still be making $10,000 a month somewhere. Okay. So I was aware that I wasn't a millionaire. I was aware that I was broke, busted, and disgusted. I was aware that I was in foreclosure, repossession, and bankruptcy. I was aware where I grew up with, and that stayed with me for my whole entire life. I was fully aware that where I was, okay, was not the place that I wanted to be. And then, okay, when you go from being aware, you have to accept it. And when I say accept it, you have to accept that it's your fault. Okay, wasn't my fault that I was born into poverty. It was my fault that I stayed in it. Okay, so I didn't move from poverty to prosperity. That was my fault. Because yeah, as a child, I hustled, I grinded, I did everything I could to make a buck, a dollar, a quarter, whatever it was, cut yours, rent motor, cut yours, wash cars, pump gas at work at grocery stores when I wasn't supposed to. And as a preteen, I had a work ethic then. I had a grind then. I had goals and dreams then. I had a desire to go out there and be, better than I was then. I accepted the responsibility that if it was going to be, it was going to be up to me, and I could not stay there. I was not going to accept that as my position in life. I wasn't going to accept the excuses that all my friends and associates were making, and a lot of my family members were making. I wasn't going to accept that. I accept the fact that if I am going to be here, then it's going to be all on me. Can't blame it on pops. Can't blame it on the system. Can't blame it on the man. Can't blame it on my moms. Can't blame it on anybody except for me. You are exactly where you are. You are exactly where you made an appointment to be. Okay. So accept that and accept the responsibility that comes with that. If you had 10 grand a month on your job, but you need $20,000 to live so you can breathe and have a good life, it's your fault you don't have the other 10,000, right? 1 year from now, if you haven't made the decision to go out there and make that bridge that gap and make that other $10,000 that you're missing, yeah, we'll know. Okay? And it's still going to be your fault. We will know at that point in time that you didn't make the decision today, 12 months ago. Okay. So when you look at that acceptance, you accept the fact that it's your responsibility and you accept the things that you have to do now to go out there and recondition yourself. You are now putting yourself in a position where you are now getting ready to alter your mentality. The hardest part of this, is the reconditioning. This is where the work comes in at. Okay? Because at the end of the day, a lot of you are in this company, and the unfortunate, thing is, you got a lot of people who left the company already. And guess what? We already knew that 80% of the people who were going to be here day one would leave before the first 3 years. That's a fact. That's how it happens in every company. Okay. Because again, those people already made a decision. So you know what? I'm not going to do what's required. I already know for a fact I'm not going to be able to recruit, or I'm not going to be able to build. I'm not going to be able to sell solo. I'm not. They've already made up their mind and basically made those excuses and made their exit, and that's fine. They got out of the way for all the serious people, and it's unfortunate for their families because it's all about recreating yourself, reinventing yourself, going out there and getting in the field. When I say getting in the field, going out there and knocking on doors, with people like Johnny. Okay. Going out there learning how to be a great mentor with people like Idris. Going out there learning how to sell water with Mr. Ovey and Mrs. Bean. Going out there learning how to go out there and build, right? And really build with people, Ed Ayala. Okay. So there are examples, guys, of people who are doing exactly what you can do, right? But you have to make that decision to do it, to do the work. Don't worry about your skill set, your skill level. Worry about your work ethic and your commitment. See, that discipline, guys, I'm going to say you, when you look at the gym, it's the same way. I accept the fact I was aware that, man, I was overweight, right? Accept the fact that I ate too much, accept the fact that I ate late, accept the fact that I ate sweets, accept the fact that I did everything that I wasn't supposed to do, right? Accept the fact that I was drinking alcohol every once in a while. But I accepted that. And then I made a decision to recondition it. Okay. And so that reconditioning process, though, it's a lifestyle. See, some of y'all put, and this is what happens because, and I know this is what happened because this is what happened to me. I put a termination date, right, on my reconditioning. So, okay, if I work out for 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is, I'll be fine, literally and figuratively. And I can stop. You know what I'm saying? And so what ended up happening was when you stop, okay, because it's not lifestyle, right? It's just you gave yourself a goal, you gave yourself an end date, and when you come off that end date, all of a sudden, hey, them cravings come back. All of a sudden, you stop going to the gym. All of a sudden, you get lazy. All of a sudden happens. And that's the same thing that's happened to some of you guys. You got to the event, went to Mentor Factory, got fired up, went to the event in September and August, back in August, and was screaming sub, sub, sub. Half the people who were screaming subs ain't here no more. They was fired up. Now they fired out. Right? It is what it is. That happens. Circle of life. Right? They wasn't ready to go out there and put themselves through the process. Some of them say, you know what, I'm gonna go out here and do some presentations. They invited a couple people, nobody got started, and they quit. Okay. They had a one event dream. They had a one no dream. Somebody told them no, they quit. Okay. They worked real, real hard, nothing happened for a month. They had a 1 month dream. You can't how many you can't recondition yourself in a month or at an event or on 2 Zooms or on one calling party? Ask Warren Buffett how long did it take him to condition himself to be wealthy. Ask Bill Gates, Mark Cuban, Oprah Winfrey, anybody and everybody who's been added, Tyler Perry, anybody, 50 Cent, anybody who's been added, ask them how long did it take them? Elon Musk, how long did it take them to recondition themselves for wealth? From being knowledgeable to putting in the work, putting in the hours, just stand up 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Ask them how many years, not days, not months, not weeks, did it take. See, I respect the person who says, you know what, Freddie, I appreciate the fact that you work that hard. I appreciate the fact that you're doing everything that you're supposed to do to make millions of dollars. You know what? I'm just not willing to do that. I'm okay with making 5 grand a month. Okay. I might be, month to month, but I'm just not willing to do it. I can respect the person who's honest with themselves and honest with me. Okay. But when you out here, guys, and we're putting these things together, we're putting these plays together for you, and we're showing you guys what you need to do to go out there and be successful. As I'm gonna tell you, you'll have about 20% of the people who will do that, and they'll see that through. If you knew that the owners of companies, they don't make money in the beginning. As Mr. Navarro ain't making no money right now, right? JC, they're not making no money right now. Only money that they're making is when they close deals. How many of y'all see JC doing solar deals on a regular basis? You don't. He's seeding, right? He's planting seeds. He's tilling the soil. He's getting it right, for the picking. Mr. Pacheco ain't making no money right now. Everybody's putting a system together. Everybody's making sure that they got the right people in place, right? And everybody's sacrificing. I'm not making no money. I already knew for a fact that when I came in, didn't ask for a position. I came in and started at the bottom, and I said I'll work my way to the top. It's gonna take some time. But guess what? It took about 35 years before I got rich. So if it took 35 years before I got rich, I'm okay with a year and a half of building it and putting in the systems, going out there, setting up my Facebook page, going out there, setting up my LinkedIn page, going out there, putting in the work on social media, lead generation, going out there, getting laughed at, going out there, getting told no. I am tilling the soil. I'm taking the nose on the chin, and I'm okay with it. I'm walking through them nose. You can't hit me hard enough because I got a $1 million a month jaw. You don't hit that hard. Your no not that strong, right? Think about it for a second. If a person can tell you no and you quit, shame on you. If a person tells you no, you quit, you're the biggest loser, not them. They won because now you get to be miserable like them. You get to be average like them. You get to struggle like them. Guess what else gets to happen? Your wife gets to live like their wife. Your kids get to live like their kids. Okay? Because you gave up on your goals. You gave up on your dreams. You gave up on your family because somebody outside of your family had more influence than the people inside of it. This is where I said right now with the reconditioning guys, you have to put your faith over your fear. You have to. You got to understand that it's going to happen with or without you. Make sure that you are a part of the reason why it does. Okay. You got to make sure that you are not just in the company when it happens. You got to be a part of the reason that it does. Don't be that guy, that gal. If you're talking about I'm here to build and you're talking about building and you're playing with it, you're not selling nothing, but you're out here playing like you building. No, selling no solar, selling no water. You selling nothing. Not gonna sell no travel. You just gonna keep on telling everybody, what you gonna do, what you about to do, what you finna to do. How many of y'all know some people like that? I'm about to do this. I'm finna to do that. I'm gonna do that. Right? How many of y'all know some people like that? Right? And so, that's the thing right now, guys. When you look at where we're at, you have to recondition yourself. Now, talking about conditioning and reconditioning, right? When you look at the educational system, from way back. Those of you who haven't seen if you've seen the Men Who Built America, put a one in the chat or just raise your hand up. All right. Well, I can see you. I can see y'all, most all of y'all, right? So there you go. It's an amazing documentary. Okay. It's amazing. Go watch it. It's on YouTube. It's on National Geographic. You get the whole entire deal. I had somebody buy the videos for me as a gift. One of the people in one of my teams years ago. It was one of those things that I had my son and my wife, my sons and my wife sit down and watch, and it was empowering. That was very, very empowering. And how they shifted everything, how they reconditioned the government, how they reconditioned, the market, the money, the economy, how they reconditioned everything, and they built a whole new world in their preference, right? They took people away from naturopathic medication, naturopathic healing, right? Things that Mother Nature gave you, and they created medicine. They created occupations like doctors. They got rid of the quacks, so to speak, right? You have now you got to go to school to be able to tell people, what drug you're gonna give them to keep them on that drug. See, this is the big, big money, right? From way, way back. Education. You got your condition that education is the way to go. There's nothing wrong with college, okay? Nothing wrong with college at all. But if you think about it, all the richest people in the world, most of them never went to college. These days, a lot of them do. But the ones who set the trailblazers, the people who actually went out there and knocked it out, most of them didn't. They were C and D students. Them the ones that, when they went to school, they say, hey, look, draw in the line, don't call outside the line, walk in line, right? Lunch line, recess line. They had you in these lines, and if you got out, you got out of line, you got punished. Like if you're an employer, you even think about having your own business, you get fired. As a matter of fact, they got a line called a non-disclosure, non-compete. How many of y'all in that line? You got people who you talk to somebody and they're in that line. They're in a non-compete line. How many of y'all talk to people who they need the money, but they're in the government assistant line? If I do this, they're gonna take my government check. They're gonna take my $800 a month, my $1,500 a month. I need that $1,500 a month, right? It's conditioning, right? And so you got to think about reconditioning yourself. You got to think about what line am I in right now? And just be honest with yourself, right? This is a frank conversation that you're going to have with you right now. And so what line are you in right now? Am I in the, yeah, I got a job. I'm making $50,000 a year or $100,000 a year. That's my line. And I'm staying in that line. I'm not going, I dare not make $200,000 a year. I, it, you keep yourself in line. They don't even have to put you in line anymore, right? You've been in that line so long. So when you look at like even animals, right? You have the flea, right? And some of you probably heard the story or the dynamic behind it. Fleas, for as small as they are, guys, they can jump 7 feet off the ground, right? And when you look at the study that they did with fleas, they had, they put a lot of fleas, in this jar. They put little holes in the jar to make sure that they can breathe. They didn't die of suffocation. Okay. But when they screwed that jar on, right, you heard them fleas and they got them spring loaded legs. They jumped at 7 feet off the ground with 7 feet of force, off that bottom of that glass, and they hitting their head on the top of that lid. Boom. And all you hear is tick, 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 tick. You hear all these fleas just jumping up, hitting their head. Tick, 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 tick. And then you start hearing tick, 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 tick. No more ticks. Because they stop jumping. Because every time they jump, they hit their head. Every time they jump, they got a headache. Every time they jump, they got disappointed. Every time they jump, they realized there was no place for them to go. No different than those of you who were in network marketing, direct sales, no different than you who struck out, right? In traditional businesses, time after time at the time, you struck out in whatever it is, investing time at the time, or you hit across the head with a scam time, and it just you tired of being hit across the head. You tired of getting a headache, and guess what? You stop jumping. They took the lid off the jar, right? And the flea who still had the same muscles, still had the same, power to jump 7 feet outside that glass wouldn't jump at all. It wouldn't jump any higher. It wouldn't jump past the height of the glass because of the conditioning. Make sense, anybody? Right? think about it. A lot of y'all heard about the elephant, right? That was the baby elephant that, when it was a baby, they tied it up against a little bitty post, little bitty wood post, little stick, right, with a rope, just a regular rope. And uh, they every time the baby elephant tried to get away, it created a rash, right? It hurt, it burned, it bled, it was tender, right? And so it stopped trying because every time it tried, it hurt, right? When an elephant grew up, big circus elephant, big powerful circus elephant, they still tying that elephant down, right? With something small, little small chains, because elephants can pull. You guys have seen it, 18 wheelers and diesels and stuff like that, right? But they tie the elephant down with, some little chains to a stake that they can easily pull out of the ground. And a fire happened in that circus, and the elephant died. Right? It wouldn't. It's not that it couldn't. It wouldn't pull itself, you know, forward and pull a stake out of the ground based on the conditioning. Some of you are just you won't pull yourself from $50,000 a year to $75,000 a year because of your conditioning. Because it hurts, man. Stand up to 11 and 12 hurts. Calling people and getting no's, it hurts you, right? You don't want to go through that pain no more. You see people riding around in your dream car, living in your dream house, okay? And what you say, don't nobody need that. You start making excuses instead of making it happen. You start talking down on them based on the fact that they courageous. They recondition themselves to get what you want, right? But you're not really all that happy for them because now at this point in time, you don't even see yourself as man enough or woman enough to go out there and get the job done, right? Think about it for a second. You got fish. I forgot the name of the fish, the type of fish it was, but they had this big aquarium. And what they did was they put these fish in this big aquarium, and then what happens is they put these minnow in the big. They just dumped a lot of minnow in the aquarium, and you can see the fish just whoosh, whoosh, just grabbing them, eating them, just swimming around this and devouring them. Right? They swimming around, and they come back with another batch of minnows, and they put them in the water, and just the fish is just swimming around, just eating them, devouring them. I'm talking about gone in less than a minute. There's nothing left in there. And then they put this glass partition in the middle of it, right? And then they dropped minnows on the side of the glass partition that there were no fish on, right? And you see the fish, they see the minnows and they crashing against the glass partition, boom, 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 and they see the minnows, they just boom, boom, crashing against it. And all of a sudden they stop crashing against it. All of a sudden, now they swimming on this side of the tank, head hurting, frustrated, aggravated, right? They pull the partition out of the water. The minnows swimming right in front of their face, and they won't eat it because trying to eat it, they remember the headache they just got from crashing into the glass partition. Time after time after time is right there in their face, swimming right in front of their mouth, right? You can see a minnow bot swimming in one of their mouth, and it's gonna open his mouth up and let it out because it's painful just thinking about it. Can anybody relate to what I'm talking about right now? Anybody turn down anything? You had the money for it, but you turned it down because I'm tired. I got baggage. I got trauma from investing. I got trauma from losing. I got trauma from not being able to recruit and being lied to. I got trauma, and I got trauma, and I got trauma. Can anybody relate to that? You know people like that, or is that you? Because this is what it's all boiled down to right now. Most people have baggage that they haven't identified with. They got trauma that they haven't unpacked yet, right? In the military, they give you a percentage for trauma. You get paid. You got people who they 100%, 40%, 70%, they getting paid for their trauma. This ain't the military. You get paid for overcoming your trauma here, right? So when you look at like just the evolution of it all, guys. I mean, just the conditioning. Matter of fact, I'm from Texas, old Southern boy, right? So we have huge Thanksgivings, and ever since I was a kid, I go by Big Mama house, go by Grandma house, and it's a feast on Thanksgiving, right? And there's a story, and there's the last story I'm gonna tell about it, but because I need y'all to get it about the mom. And there's three generations of women in the house: mom, grandma, great grandma, and they got this big old ham that they done sliced off the bone, got to lay it all out, got it all decked out, and it's just boom, it's in the oven, lights on. You can look at it while it's cooking, right? And the mom says, you know what? Mom, she looks at her mom and said, Mom, ask you a question. Why did you cut the bone off the ham? Why do you cut the bone off the ham? She said, baby, I really don't know. I just watched my mom do it. Okay. She said, but mom's in there, go ask mom. So, babe, uh, okay, mom, grandma, why you cut the bone off the ham? Or ham off the bone, rather. She said, baby, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's what Big Mama taught me. I've been watching Big Mama cook for years. And she's never ever left the ham on the bone. And so she goes sit over there by Big Mama. Big Mama got a couple people on, got a couple of great grandkids on the lap bouncing around. Say, Big Mama, hey, um, why you cut the ham off the bone before you cook it? She said, oh, baby, that's easy. She said, back in the day, our ovens was this small. It was so small you couldn't put the whole ham in there with the bone on it. And here y'all go, y'all got all these big old convection ovens, these big old walls. That you got the whole oven that take up the whole entire side of the wall with two and three oven compartments, and y'all cutting the ham off the bone, and you have no idea why. You can get the whole ham with the bone in the oven, but you're so conditioned, right, to cut the ham off the bone that's you do it not even knowing why. So when we talk about being a leader, I know what kind of conditioning you get based on what you're doing. I know what your leader is doing or what your leader is not doing based on that leader's book of business, based on the activity in that leader's group. I know that you are either being conditioned for wealth or you're being conditioned to quit. You're being conditioned to be a top salesperson or you're being conditioned to be a watcher. You're being conditioned to be a business owner or a top salesperson or you're being conditioned to be a consumer. You you are being conditioned, and that conditioning is picking up where the last conditioning left off. That's why when people talk about network marketing, that's the thing about network marketing. People, how do you follow people you just lost with 2 companies ago? You've been every time y'all go to a company, you lose in a different company with the same person. It's because you don't know how to think for yourself. You don't know how to make decisions for yourself. Most people haven't been taught how to evaluate companies and how to evaluate businesses, guys. That's why they do so bad. They end up following somebody who's following somebody who's following somebody who's broken. Period. Right or right. That's the thing. So when I look at like the numbers and stuff like that, we talk about hitting big numbers. That's why when some people say, you know what, he talking about making $250,000 a month in 2 years. Yeah, people are laughing at it. People are talking about it. That's fine because that wasn't for you. That was for me. That was an affirmation. I'm just telling you, so I'm being held accountable. I made it public, so if it don't happen, I look bad. So that's my motivation. I can care less whether you believe it or not. I don't need the conditioning. I just need the accountability partners. I think each and every last one of y'all, even the ones who quit, because they got a chance to hear it, and they're gonna keep on hearing it until it happens. Even if I don't hit it on the date I say I'm gonna hit it on, I'm not gonna change the goal. I'm gonna change the date. It's going to happen. Period. Right? Think about this for a second. The company has put us in a position where we have everything we want, everything we need. And if you don't hit your goals, guys, it's not going to be the company's fault. It's going to be yours. If you don't hit your goals, guess what? It's not going to be your leader's fault. Let me tell you why. Your leader's not your boss. Last time I checked, you don't clock in for Bill. You don't clock in for your sponsor. You don't clock in. Nobody controls whether you clock in or clock out. We don't tell you whether you work overtime or not. But I can guarantee if you don't hit your goals here, you're going to end up working overtime over time. I'm going to slow that down so some of y'all can get that. See, overtime, same word. different inflection. Because when I say you can make $50,000 a month, right? You make $35,000 a year. You say, well, if I work some overtime, I'll get to $50,000 a year. But you can always find three or four people out of 100 who's willing to sacrifice and be patient and work overtime, right? To make the $50,000 a month. Like the late great Jim Rome says, work full time on your job, work part time on your future, right? Work part time on your fortune, right? So when you look at, let me see here, hold on, let me see here if I can that because that when it comes to reconditioning, guys, you have to figure out one what the challenge is. Like I said, with being aware, so you can go through your process. But that challenge is where everybody, if you got a piece of paper, you got something to write with, okay? Or if you got a cell phone, take the cell phone out, don't matter, type it out. But type out the word or write out the word challenge. Okay. Type out the word or write out the word challenge. And when you do that, I want you to circle, okay, the first three letters. I want you to circle the last three letters. If you typed it out, delete the middle three letters. What do you get? Change. Right. As you have to challenge yourself, right? To overcome who you were born as, to overcome who you were conditioned to be. Okay. You have to, and the only way you can do that again is by change, right? Remember, three steps of change, three phases of changes. That's always going to happen. Okay. You've lived this way for a while. You've lived as $100,000 a year person as a while for a while. You lived as a $250,000 a year person as well, but you can't make a half a million because you're conditioned. You have to change. And you got to figure out what the challenge is. The cool part about it is it's not a problem. Problems are permanent. Challenges can be readily solved and fixed immediately. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the best way and the fastest way, to change is through activity. Okay. But in order for that to happen, you got to have the belief, right? So you got to raise the bar. So let's just say that you got to raise the bar, period. BAR. You got to raise your belief, which in return will raise your activity. Okay. And in return will raise your results. Okay. That's why I can tell a person how much they believe based on how many excuses they make. I can tell a person, when I look at their thermometer, because there's between a thermostat and a thermometer. A thermostat is what you check, right? I can check your calendar and see where your belief is at. That's your thermometer. I can check your 8 point system, your 8 point checklist. That's your thermometer. I can tell you what temperature you're at. I can tell you if you're cold, if you're hot, right? I can check your IPAs, your income producing activities, right? I can check that. I can check that thermometer, that gauge, and I can tell you if you're a believer or if you're a deceiver, right? Like that, Dr. Arlene, you caught it, huh? So that's the thing. When you look at the thermostat, though, the thermostat is adjustable. Okay, you can increase your thermostat, which means that if you can increase your thermostat, you can increase your financial thermostat. Because remember, your personal thermostat goes up first. Okay. And as it goes up, the financial thermostat catches up. I say water always seeks its level, right? So anytime your financial thermostat exceeds your mental thermostat, your personal development thermostat, that money is going to come down or go away. So smartest thing a person with that has a low economic IQ, a low setting on their financial thermostat. If they ever come into some money right away, they better go put it in somebody else's hands who know what to do with money. And they need to learn about it while they're making it. So it won't go away. Because if you leave them in charge of that money will disappear. Has to. It could be in a bank and you can make it disappear. Like he was in a movie. So those are the things when you talk about the changes, guys, that you have to make changes in activity, changing in perspective. Okay. What kind of thinking do you have right now? Stinking thinking that you have right now that's keeping you from making your fortune. You got to change your work ethic. You got to change how many events you're doing, how many people you're exposing. You got to stop being cheap if you have money. Okay. Do a little advertising and marketing your business. Do something, right? Lead generation, something. One thing I can appreciate about Dr. Arlene and her crew, the George family, there's three of them. Her daughter Sarah, and her son Daniel. They've been running ads since January. And now they have three appointments coming in every day. They're setting about three appointments every day, right? But they invested the money. Doc says, I know everything about being a doctor, but all of them took the classes, from a lead generation expert, right? Then they plugged into, the VT and everything that's in the back office when it comes to training on solar cells, scripts, and all this other stuff. They got on some other trains that was available to them. I know Chris Hart was doing some stuff, and then they jumped on Chris Hart's stuff, right? They learned everything they could by bringing deals to the table with the mentors like Hans Idris, and then Dennis Macy's and all the other people who they put deals on the table with, Matt Acosta. They went through this process of creativity, right? And they put all these, you know, uh, deals on the table. They put all this work on the table. They put all this money on the table, and all of a sudden now, she's a couple of deals away from being an actual mentor. And they got a system. Daughter, son, they running the ads, they answering the phones, they're making the phone calls, whatever it is they doing, and they pitching it to mom. It's a family business. Guess what? She's in early retirement. She took the money and she ran. The government said, "Hey, you want the bag?" She said, "Give me the bag. I'm betting on myself." You know how many people who are conditioned to stay there until the wheels fall off? That's why there's not a lot of people that get rich, okay, and become successful because there's not a lot of people who are going to put themselves at risk. There's not a lot of people out there who are going to take chances and make sacrifices. There's not a lot of people out there who are going to bet on themselves. If you were a director, and this is the thing, this is the sad part about life. If you casted a movie, right, about build right now, you wrote the script right now, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm lying right now. And the script was, you know, $250,000 a month to die trying. Which one of you would actually script yourself as the lead actor or actress? Okay. Or would you be an extra in your movie? You wouldn't be the lead, right? You wouldn't be the co-star. Matter of fact, your name probably wouldn't even be on the credits as an extra. You'd just be in that pool of people that people, everybody's walking around, nobody knew who you were in your movie right now, your Bill movie. Think about that for a second. Because what this is designed to do is give you a conscious interrupt. This is supposed to wake you up. This is supposed to say, you know what? Damn, he ain't lying. I put JC Rangel as the $250,000 a month guy. I put Airjon as the $250,000 a month guy. Man, I put Ed Ayala, Julio Aquino as the $250,000 a month guy, right? Nobody ever really put themselves. And you think about it is you can't lie to me because I know if you actually scripted yourself to be in that position based off what you do. Okay. Some of you scripted yourself better than an extra, where you actually had a scene where you gave yourself a couple of lines, right? And that's it. You know what I'm saying? And you gave the rest of the movie away. And some of you guys made it halfway through the movie in your movie and you kill yourself off, right? But you still wasn't the co-star or the star of the movie. Is this making sense, guys? Is this making sense to anybody? Because if you cast yourself as the star of your movie, you give yourself the role of the star, the role of the leader. You make sure that you're the one doing the presentations. Tuesday nights and Thursday nights, we know who's casted. Chris McHenry on Thursday night. Hey, always there. I don't think Chris booked nothing around 7 o'clock just in case JC busy, right? He started himself there. And guess what? Chris McHenry was like Denzel. You know, Denzel had all these cold-blooded roles, and then all of a sudden the training day came out like, whoa, he out of character, right? That's Chris McHenry. In the beginning, he was the solar guy. And then all of a sudden he became a builder. He got out of character. He rescripted himself. He reinvented himself so he can play new roles, right? He can do different things now, right? So now he's not just a manager or a director, over here on the solar side. He's also builder 500 or builder 1000 or whatever it is and climbing. He's casting himself in starting roles, co-starring roles, and different roles. He's got a lot of different movies going on right now. And I'm talking movies, I'm talking script, and I want you guys to get it because when it comes back around to it, who writes the scripts? It's not the actor, it's the director, right? Directors make the most money. They make more money than the actor, right or right. So you can act and be an actor, a bad actor, make a lot of money in films. You can go out there and do like Jabbar did and make, hey, over 100,000 in a month. And then Jabbar did a Denzel too. Jabbar said, look, I ain't just here for the sales of solar. Let me go ahead and build it. Build a 2,000, a sneeze away from building 4,000. That should be done this month. He recasted himself, right? And so now you can't put him on a specific role, right? People are evolving. People are doing their thing. And I'm Erjan, same thing. Erjan, I didn't know who Erjan was. We in September or August in California. He stopped me in the hallway and said, can I get a video? And if you just ask you a couple questions, I had no idea who this man was. I didn't know he was that cold-blooded. All I know is I was serving. I'm glad I served because, again, he is rolling, rocking and rolling. I'm like, this dude is a superstar and about to make millions of dollars in this company. He came from a place where he was building. Now for selling solar, ton 20, 35, 20, 25, 30 deals a month. Now he's over here building out his foundation, and now he's building a team. Guys, I'm telling you, this is the time to really get this thing on the road, get this show on the road. When you look at the numbers, um, I thought I had them written down somewhere. Let me see something. Oh, now I'll give you an example. When we went to the numbers, because I told you I was gonna help y'all get the $50,000. Somebody's gonna get the $50,000 a month, right? Anybody, if you want to get if you want to get the $50,000 a month, let me see some hands. Put some hands up, some ones in the chest. All right, Emma. Emma got two hands up there. Emma, is that your toe? Two hands on a toe? Okay, all right. So that's the thing. So that's what we're gonna. Hey, Emma said I'm all in on this one right here, bro. All right. So Dr. Felicia, I see you. Kathy, I see you. Right. So it's about good math, right? When you look at builders and engineers are two totally different people. Like the engineers, they design stuff and everything is mathematical. Builders, everything is not so mathematical. With builders, you do the work and then you take the results and then you map out, what somebody else's game plan is going to be based on your results, not based on the numbers. Is when you building, there are no exact numbers, but there are exact formulas. There are exact equations, right? Right. And so when I was in one of the coffee company, you guys know about the coffee company. When I was in the coffee company, um, when I was at 50 grand a month in the residuals, I had what we call 50 sapphires, which was the equivalent of Builder 2000. Basically, Builder 2000, somewhere between Builder 2000, Builder 4000, depending on how, but at the base, at the least, Builder 2000. Okay. So I had 50, no less than 50 sapphires in my group at 50,000 a month in residuals. When I got to $100,000, when I got to $75,000, I had about 85 sapphires in my group, right? Residual with recurring income. Okay. These are people who have developed themselves into builders. They're going to requalify. They're doing the work. They're in the trenches. Everybody's money count, everybody's volume count, everybody's productions count, but you don't count anybody except for your true builders. Everybody else will take it. That excess, that's lanyap, as y'all say in Louisiana, for those Louisianians, you know what I'm saying? That's lanyap. That's extra. We'll take it. It counts. Okay. But when I look at this company, I'm looking at the numbers and I'm saying, okay, men and women lie, numbers don't. Okay. When you invite to showcases, when you invite to home meetings, when you invite to market meetings, when you invite to Zooms, this is what I want you to think about. You're not inviting an individual. Okay. You're not inviting an individual. You're inviting a Builder 500. That's who you have as a guest. Okay. When you start looking at every guest as if they are a Builder 500, things start to change. Okay. There's more value on that person now. There's more time you invest in that invite now. There's more purpose, that you'll give that now because it now has value. Now attach some value. If I'm inviting Kenneth, man, I'm not inviting Kenneth. I'm inviting a Builder 500. Okay. If I invite Rod, Obi, I'm inviting a Builder 500. Like right off the rip, because I understand that, you know, when you're looking at the path that you're taking and you become a Builder 500 factory, right? That's when things start to happen. That's when the law of compound numbers, right, start to happen. And so when you look at the road to early retirement, guys, it goes through Builder 4,000. Just want to tell you that now. The average person makes $5,000 a year. I mean, $5,000 a month. The average person. Let's just say that's being gracious. That's 60 grand a year. Okay. So again, the road to early retirement goes through Builder 4,000. Builder 4,000 is at least $5,000 a month. Okay. Now the road to Builder 4,000 goes through Builder 500. Okay. So when you go Builder 500, you can help other people become Builder 500 because you can teach what you accomplish. You can teach what you do. Right. And by the way, all the while you're doing this, you're attending the Millionaire Mentorship calls. It's non-optional. Okay? You're attending your group calls and your team calls with your leaders. That's non-optional. You're plugging into the system. That's non-optional because this is bigger than recruiting. This is about developing. This is about conditioning people, reconditioning people. You're putting people through a reconditioning process, right? So if they're going to the events, they're going to the meetings, they're going to the training, guess what? They're going to be around. And if they're going to be around, they're already winning, guess what? They're going to be making money and their money will now start to grow incrementally. Their production, their recruiting, the group, that all that started grows over incrementally. But the road to build a 500 goes through getting four and paying no more. Okay. If you don't master helping people get their four, good luck on everything else. If you can't talk a person into helping them build a free business, you got some work to do. If I can't get a person, if Johnny Cordova is somebody I personally sponsored, and Johnny says, hey, man, look, I need some time. I'm, give me about 2, 3 weeks, and like Johnny's not ready to work for me. Work with me rather. That he's not ready. I'm going to let him work with Angel or Ken, or Johnny. Or he's not ready for me. Okay, so I'm going to find Jessica Calderon, and I'm going to have Jessica. Oh yeah, let's go ahead and get that for Jessica. Jessica's going to do a lunch call or 2 or 3. Okay, and she's going to make sure she get that for right away. Okay, and so that's who I'm working with. The willing. I'm working with the people who are committed. I'm not working with the waiters. Okay, I'm not working with the incubators. I'm not working with. You don't need my time to incubate. You can do that on your own. You don't need my time to self sabotage. You can do that on your own, right? You don't need my time for any of that, right? You can watch me work with Freddie, Watch me work with Michael Johnson. Watch me work with John Dunham. You can watch me do all of that. But when you wake up, I'm not going to be available for you. The system will catch you. Okay. Because I'm not going backwards. If I do work with you, it's because you found a way to get the Builder 1000 on your own. Not only did you get your four, you know what I'm saying, and not pay no more, you went and got that when Builder 500, you got somebody to help you get you to Builder four on Builder 1000. And now I can take you and run with you because now I know you're ready. And I'm not going to let you come back in at the same level you disappointed yourself at. This is about building. This is about leadership. Okay. So when you look at your playbook, think about it. How many of y'all still look at your playbook? How many of y'all still have a playbook? Some of y'all haven't seen the playbook since I trained on it, since I launched it. Think about it. Because this is the thing, you have people who say, hey, look, I got one more person to get my left to get my four. I got one more person, two more people, or seven more people to fill up this page. Right? Those are the people who you want to work with. I want to work with people who have a plan. I want to work with people who know the play and who are going to run the play. I want to work with people right there who are out there practicing, doing shuttle drills and suicides and going out there catching passes off the jug machine. And I'm not there. And when I get there, we turn it up, and we are now more efficient, more effective. We are out there working, we grinding, we getting it. But what are you doing on your own? Okay, what are you doing on your own? So when it comes to that, guys, it's just when you look at those type of things, that's very, very important. You know, that you're in your playbooks, you're getting those numbers. Okay. So when you actually let me find out, I have a note over here. But Builder 4000, you know, I remember this in my head. Builder 4000, 15 Builder 4000s will get you to $50,000 a month. Just for the record, in case any of y'all were wondering. 15, just 15 Builder 4000 will get you to $50,000 a month. You help 15 people get to fit 5 grand a month, 4 grand a month, you know, just residuals and 5 grand with the extra money that they get for matching bonuses, stuff like that. That gets you to 50,000. So if you know that, you're not wasting time on people who are wondering generalities, are you? No, you making it happen. Because if they get in your way, they stopping you running over them, right? It's like a deck of cards. You have 52 cards in a deck. And I say it's two jokers in that deck. Them jokers worth, 25 grand each. You're gonna go through each one of them cards until you find that joker. And then when you find that first one, you're gonna find that second one. I'm willing to go through all you jokers to make $250,000. I'm gonna put so many people in the business where I'm gonna find some aces, right? I'm gonna find me some kings and some queens, right? I'm gonna find me some builder 4,000, some builder 8,000, some executive 15s. Find me some people who are gonna sponsor two people. I'm gonna find some people who are gonna sponsor 20. I'm gonna find some people who are gonna sponsor 200. It's all about the numbers. And guess what? It's people in this company right now that speak better than me, present better than me, stuff like that, all that good stuff. But I'm way more on purpose than most people. If if I told y'all in September or August, going into September last year at the event, I'm not selling nothing. And I lied to y'all. I'm gonna sell some travel. I'm gonna sell some travel. I promise you. But I wasn't gonna sell no solar, right? Unless I did it on accident. Wasn't focused on selling no water. Yeah, I am. I wasn't. I'm committed to not selling nothing except for the dream, right? And I'm out here talking to professionals every day, Emma. Every day. I'm talking to realtors every day. I'm talking to plumbers every day. I'm talking to tax people every day. I'm talking to these professional people who understand money every day. I'm not talking to broke people and people who are scared to take risks. I'm not talking to people who've been in network marketing their whole life and lost, and they so conditioned that they don't see an opportunity if it punched them in the face. Okay. A lot of y'all talking to the easy people. Then you figure out it ain't that easy. Some, oh, they needy. They ain't making no money. They need the money. It's a reason why they need the money. Needy people are needy for a reason. Yeah, broke thoughts, right? Broke actions, right? They have memories and trauma, right? It don't matter how great the opportunity is and how amazing your speech is, right? Don't matter because you can't get past the trauma guard. You can't. It's right now. There's just anytime you and every time you say something, they're looking for a way to get away from you because you represent discomfort. You represent a chance for them to fail again, lose money again, lose friends again, lose family again. You represent something that they've been through over and over and over again, and they've done. They done. They didn't give up on life. It's like what Les Brown said. You got people who are walking around and they're unconscious. Like life has dealt them a blow so hard that emotionally and mentally and spiritually they dead. They walking, living, breathing corpses. And the only reason they ain't laid down because their body ain't shut down yet. I'm gonna just say if you have been hit that hard, it's okay. Okay. Hopefully tonight was one of those little pneumonia things that they crack when you pass out and they break it and then they let you sniff it and boom, you wake up, you jump up, right? That's what this has got to be. If it's not this one, just keep on coming back. Like last week, I mean, last week, Miss Carla, man, y'all need to be like, if I'm y'all, I'm shooting this lady all kind of text messages and all kind of, thank yous, just whatever I could do to just thank her because that was an amazing trainer last week. That was a smelling sauce for somebody last week. Somebody got it, somebody didn't, and every trainer not for everybody. Every trainer is not for everybody. Some of you I don't do it for. As a matter of fact, it's some people who jumped off early. That's fine. Hopefully they stay on when JC get on here. Or hopefully they stay on when Winston get on here. Hopefully they stay on when one of the other trainers get on here. But I know I'm not for everybody. But somebody dealing with me gonna get rich. That's for sure. And everybody else get to watch. Somebody who's working directly with the Pacheco's is gonna get rich. And everybody else get to watch. I'm just telling you, there's some people who are not in this company right now. They're gonna come in here and light this thing up. They're gonna get filthy stinking hog master rich, and some people gonna get rich with them. You're gonna have some people who just gonna watch. Every company is filled with watchers. Every company is filled with quitters. Every company is filled with extras, right? Every company. That's why I'm not a network marketer. I don't do network marketing. I stopped doing network marketing over 20 years ago. Some of y'all seen my collaborate presentation. I rebranded myself in your company. People don't know it's the 9 out of 10. People don't know the name of the company is BYLD until they actually, see it. I say it, or they signing in, or they enrolling. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm looking to track. I know what's going to make me roll and and sell out to this situation. I'm not selling out the network marketing. I'm selling out the business. Okay. I got $250,000 a month max contract on the line right now. I gotta play like Tom Brady, TB12 right now. I gotta go win a Super Bowl. I gotta go out here and play like the champions play. I gotta go out there and leave it on the field. I gotta go out here and like this whole last year, I took a pay cut like Tom. That's why I used Tom. Tom left money on the table. He didn't get a max contract. He want everybody on the team to eat. So regardless of where you were before you got started on this call tonight, just know this. Where you at right now, if you've been there for years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, income wise, if you haven't increased your income, the revenue in your household 50%, 100%, you ain't doubled your income over the last 5 years, that means that you have a floor, right? That means that you basically say, I'm selling for my salary. I'm selling for my hourly wage or whatever it is. And just know this, anything that has a floor has a ceiling. Okay. You're making $50,000 a year, you'd be lucky to make 75 because you have a ceiling. You make $100,000 a year, you'd be lucky to make 250, in your life in a year because you have a ceiling, 150 from 100. But a person who has no floor, a person who has no comfort of an agreed contract, a salary, or income, a wage, a guaranteed anything, that person has no floor. Therefore, that person has no ceiling. Therefore, the sky is the limit. So, one of the things I suggest you go do right now, because we're talking about reconditioning, is go pull up your books. Okay. All y'all got this book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and go on, start over. And don't start over. Read the whole chapter one, not the chapter book, not the old book. Read the whole chapter one. Start over. Because that's the most important chapter in the book. You might not need nothing else in the book if you read chapter number one and get out your way. That'll take that catalytic converter out that thing, and then man, you just run it. No governor. Think about this. Every time something happened in the economy, I'm gonna end on this. Every time something happened in this economy, and I've been around 50, it'll be 54 years, right? 54 years this year. I've been around for enough damage to be done by the government, right? Bad decisions, the economy, recessions, COVID, this latest debacle. I've been alone enough to know that every time that I thought it couldn't get no worse, that I stopped thinking that because I now expect it to get worse. I now expect recessions, to happen. I now expect damage to be done because you got some of the greediest people in office all around the world. Don't just look at our government; it's everywhere. Okay, and so if you're not putting yourself in a position where you're protecting yourself from the world, the rest of the world, the economy around the world, the government around the world, you don't make a commitment to become the president, okay, of your household, the COO of your household, the person who is the treasurer of your household, and you don't insulate yourself from the government, from recessions, from things like that, like the pandemic that you can't control. If you don't insulate yourself from those things, it's nobody's fault but your own. That's something that you get to live with when it happens, every time it happens. Like right now, some of you made decisions, that could have made you millions of dollars, but you made this decision going another way. Now, what's happening right now as we speak, you have people getting ready over the next 3 to 6 months when all the foreclosures take place, because you have 6 million people who behind on their mortgage, 9 million people who can't pay rent. When this happens and this collapse happens, you got people right now who did exactly what they're supposed to do. The 3%ers and 5%ers of the world who put their money up, made sure their credit was great, had excess and surplus. They're about to buy up everything. And the crazy part about it is, this ain't the first time you're missing the money. If you're in your 40s, oh, you've missed it several times. Right or right. Or you've been around it several times. You've had opportunities several times, right? It's always the people who, again, they prepared for it. They understood what's happening, understand the life cycles of tragedy and stuff like that. They understand that they can create it and manipulate it as well. They use war and all kind of tactics like that to do what they need to do to get richer. Okay, so make sure you now make it an appointment. 12 months from here, you're at a whole nother level in your life. 2 years from now, you're at a whole nother level in your life. 5 years from now, you're in a whole nother level from your life in your life. And like JC said, it takes 5 years to make life fair, right? In this company, it's only going to take you 2 years if you go out there and do exactly what you're supposed to do. It's only going to take you 2 years to go out there and put yourself in a position where you never have to worry about money again as long as you live. Okay. And that is what I'll leave you with, guys. I appreciate, each and every last one of you guys for hanging in there, standing in the gap, based when everything went haywire early on. But do yourself a favor. Get yourself an accountability partner. Matter of fact, text your senior partner. This is your accountability text. Text your senior partner. Okay. Okay. And let them know I am a change agent. You can't change anybody unless you change yourself first. Text your senior partners, text your upline leaders, text the people at the top of the totem pole, let them know I'm a change agent, and then go change. Show them. Okay? That's the best way to go out there and change it. Okay, by telling somebody they'll hold you accountable for it, right? Not gonna let you make it. And then when they see you doing something opposite of what you just promised you was gonna do, they get a chance to tell you about it. So love you guys. Again, don't know what I did to deserve the opportunity to serve you guys, but I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure that we take you guys everywhere you want to go, because we are about to go all around the world in ways that you have no idea. I got through this whole training without releasing a secret. And for me, that's hard. So I'm gonna leave before I let it go. I'll talk to y'all guys later. Y'all take care. Have a great night. Good night, guys.